Hello, 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 guys. Happy Monday. Yes, I'm still away. I might be on my way back already. I'm not sure. Actually, I am on my way back, but I'm not sure if I will be like already back or close to it. But I'm sure it's a fun trip. So yeah, ask me how it was if you want to know, if you're curious. We did and are doing and are on a road trip now from British Columbia to Ontario, but originally from Ontario to British Columbia. Driving there and then driving back, staying at hotels with the kids, with a dog, with a husband, and I'm so excited. I'm excited to go because this is me preparing to go, getting all these, putting the eggs in the right basket, right? And like all the things that I already committed myself to doing, and making sure that they're here for you guys, even though I promised that they would be live. We're allowed to have vacation, and this is how it's gonna work. And I would expect you to run your business the same way, where you put your lifestyle first and then business second, because we are not human doings, we're human beings. So if we're always doing something, which means if we're always working, 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 and slaving away, it feels like slaving away. That ain't working. So Yana Kasperczak coming into you pre-recorded on June 20th. And for you, it is, so the way I'm sharing this with the car is the date, July 17th is when you will be watching this video. And today's deck is Divine Abundance Oracle card. So what I'll do is I will do 3 cards. I'll pull them out. So this way, because I know it's quick and short and sweet. There's no booklet for any of the cards, and I'm gonna do it in a way that they come out. So there's 2 cards that just fell out, and I don't see the cards. They're upside down. Don't worry. I know. I should have some kind of a table so you can see the cards, so you can see what's going on, so you can see what's up. But see, we all want sometimes too much, and we feel overwhelmed by the things that we want, and trying to have control of things often causes us to have the opposite. And while I'm shuffling the last card out, I would want to give you a moment to maybe journal, or you can pause the video because it is recorded. You can pause the video and journal before we go further. You can leave it in the comments. I would love to hear if you're open to sharing, or journal for yourself. Um, Control. What does control mean to you? I would like you to take a few minutes to identify what control means to you so you can understand how you understand it, and just on the top of your head, on your own, without going to Google or anything else. And then you can go to Google and check out what the definition is. And then you can see how close it is, and you can journal about, you know, how how you feel about the differences about this control. So you can help yourself to start to understand what the word control means, and then start to identify how control shows up in other people's lives. There's probably a person that comes to mind, or a couple of people that come to mind. Write out how control is showing up in their life in all the different ways. Just just jot all these things down, how it's showing up in their life. Okay. Now, don't hold back. Just because you're going to hear what's next, don't hold back. I want you to just write everything out. Write it out. Don't hold back. But next, what I would like you to do is start to identify how you're showing up in those same ways. We show up in such similar ways that sometimes we don't recognize that we're annoyed and irritated how someone else is showing up is because it hits so close to home that we can't see it because it's right in front of us. We can't see because It is us, and we can't see ourselves unless we have a mirror in front of us, or unless we have a camera. Where now I'm looking at myself, and I'm looking at the camera. So when we start to recognize ourselves, when we start to catch ourselves in this moment, this is when we start to grow. And that's why I want you to pause and do this exercise with control, because it is important to start identifying. If you want more freedom in your life, you gotta let go of control, because you cannot control something and expect it to feel free. If you're trying to control something, which means part of you is also feeling like having to be controlled or being under control, it means that you can't fully experience freedom. You can't fully feel free because there's still control. When you fully let go of control and you're no longer holding on to things and you just trust things, is when you have the ultimate control. The ultimate control is in the knowing. It is not in the doing, because thinking is the doing. It is not in the doing, and it is not exactly in the overcoming, but we get it in the overcoming. But that's word. Okay, last card. This one I shall pull out. I shall show you this one. This is the last card. We start with the last one. This is the way I'll do it is the future, the present, which is the middle, and by the way, the past. Okay. So the past, freedom. I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. So, affirmation. This is going to be great. Okay. So now that you did that exercise, I feel like this is actually why that exercise came through for me. See? Trusting and your intuition and allowing it to guide you pays off. Now it's like now it makes sense why that exercise was first. So now that you did the exercise, and if you didn't, this would be the time to do it. Getting familiar with yourself. Come on, we all want to feel great, and we don't want to do the things that don't make us feel great. And often, not often, none of us feel great when we have to look at the shitty parts of ourselves. But we feel great in the overcoming of looking at those shitty parts of ourselves, in the looking and also doing of the work that will get us closer to what we would much rather experience and we would much rather be than who we are being right now. And all of that happens in the overcoming. It happens while we're in a journey. It doesn't happen before and doesn't happen after. It happens in motion. So now that you've done the exercise, if you didn't, pause and do it. Seriously. It is for your own benefit, but if you don't want to do it, completely up to you. You will do it when you are ready. It will come to you. And okay, so this will be the affirmation that you can sit with. I'll bring it close so you can take. Hopefully, you can actually see it. So you can take a screenshot. So you can take a screenshot and you can read it and keep it handy for yourself. I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. Resentment is a powerful emotion. And if that is what you're experiencing, resentment, right. And if it's another word that's coming up for you, just replace that fiery ring of whatever that word is, whether it's resentment, whether it is fear, whether it's overwhelm. Replace that word with whatever you want, whatever feels right to you, and say it out loud or say it in your mind until you know it. And you will know when you know it because it's a feeling, it's a sense of just knowing, and it's a sense of peace, it's a sense of limitlessness and unlimitlessness. Limitless. And it's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of outrageous openness, which is the next card, which is in the present moment. I'll show you the card so you can take a screenshot and then I'll read it. Yeah, we'll do it that way. Card. Okay. Dear love, open me to your will. Release me from my attachment. Surprise and delight me with your plan. You know what's needed, and I am open to receive. I like to dissect things. My mom said I should have been a scientist or a vet because I I would love to dissect things. Not in that sense. Analyze things in helping me, us as a collective to understand. Because when we understand something, we're more open and willing to do it. Because when we understand something, we start to understand what's in it for us, what we get to walk away with, what we get to take away, what we get from it. When when people come over, I remember as a kid, one of the things that I loved when we had guests come over was they would bring us chocolate or they'll bring us little gifts, little something. And for me, what's in it for me, it would be that. That's what I was looking forward to. That was the most exciting thing. And then it would be, firstly and then secondary. And essentially, it's also your why, having your why. So, firstly, it would be the sweets, the candies, the bars, because I wouldn't. I wouldn't have them all the time. Now it's in abundance, but as a kid, I didn't have that. And perhaps maybe that's why it's in abundance because, and the things that I'm curious, what are the things that you felt like you didn't have much of when you were a kid that now you feel like that you have them in abundance of? And what part of you do you believe might have manifested that into your life as well? And then, as a parent, let's add on top, what part of you feels guilt and shame about manifesting that into your life? Now, having the abundance of sweets and sugary things is not so great for the kids. Whereas I had that with limits, whereas for my son it's unlimited. And I'm some refer to me as a hippie parent, whereas I wouldn't entirely refer to myself as a hippie parent because even hippie parents they're still parents. And anyways, labels, right? And hippie parent just means like a very laid back approach where let the child decide. Let them figure out in the way. Whereas, with sweets and with sugar and chocolate, sugar. Kids, we need to help them. We need to be their guide. And it is up to us to learn the language that will be heard by our kids and in the way that is not going to make them feel any less than they are, where they feel like they have total control and choice in their options. And that is when they will learn to limit themselves because everything in life is about limits. So now we're talking about understanding words because when we understand what we're doing, we understand why we're doing it, we're more likely to do it, and then which means that we're much more likely to achieve our goals and to reach those things and experiences that we have been wanting to, that we were trying to reach and have and experience. So let's dissect this one because the previous one, I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good release me from its bonds. It does not need explanation. This one, I feel like it's straightforward. This one, however, might need a little bit. Okay. Dear love, open me to your will. Release me from my attachment. Now, attachments are our energetic attachments. It's our feelings and our emotions to physical objects and to experiences as well. So maybe your kids destroyed something of yours and you're upset about it. and you feel an attachment to it, and now you're going through a grieving process, right? By attachment really means that when we're attached to something, that when something happens to it, that we will feel less than we are without that thing or a person or that experience. So, as great as attachments are, as you can tell by now through your life experiences, is that sometimes they're not, which means then what do we do to help ourselves in releasing that and not attaching ourselves to things? What can I share that would be fairly quickly with you, that would be beneficial for all? Because this is something that is more individualized when it comes to what can help you versus what can help somebody else. You know what? The exercise that I did, I feel like that could be a great thing, a great tool for you to do. Now, instead of control, you can use a different word and do the same exercise. So that's what's going to help you, um, to release attachment and to identify your attachments as well. Because we can see what others are doing wrong much more easier and quicker than we can see what we're doing wrong. So when we focus on others and we see what they're doing wrong and taking the focus away from ourselves, we're able to identify because it's completely outside of us, right? Just like we can see when we look at a person, we can see that they have something on their face. When we have something on our face, we can't see it. Somebody else has to come and tell us. The same thing here. By you looking at yourself in these different ways, through the different lenses, through the different words, and understanding yourself on such a deeper level, you will start to release a lot of the things that you recognize. I don't like that. I don't like that. And even coming back to this exercise, adding to it, not changing it, but adding to it. And and if you want to change it, then redo it. Redo it as the new you to see how much you've grown. Because one thing you also start to recognize is you will be much identifying identifying things in others will be even more quicker, and then identifying things in yourself will be that much more quicker. And which is also a reminder that when you recognize the wrong, which is quote unquote wrong, then it is just a reminder to you what doesn't align no more with who you are, no longer aligns with who you are, to align with what feels right. To just a reminder to shift because you just forgot. You're so used to taking one road to work that you forgot that you work somewhere else now. That now you got to take a detour and you drive in a completely opposite direction towards your actual job now. And this is how it is when we feel like we made a mistake. We feel like we went in the opposite direction. We went so far that coming back it feels too far that we come back to where we were. We usually stop here and not drive further towards our new job, our new destination, where we're going to feel great, where we're going to love it because we chose that thing. We want that thing. So continue going that way. Surprise and delight me with your plan. Trusting, knowing that without saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want a pink pony and let it naturally grow a unicorn. Essentially, that's how it might sound to the universe as well. But at the same time, the universe will question. The universe will say, okay, let me see how I can whip that up for you. I'm not sure how, but I'll make it work. It might not be exactly what you want, but I'll come close to it. But then you might experience disappointment when you didn't get exactly what you wanted. When you told Santa you wanted these gifts, and then you got different gifts because you didn't know that the list you gave to Santa at the mall, he doesn't give the list to mommy and daddy. And even if mommy and daddy get the list, they say VR set, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and like listing all these things. It's like, when are we going to have time to spend together if you have all of these things? When are you gonna do homework? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that? When are you gonna get to spend time with just yourself on your own? Nothing in the market seems to be advertising for kids. When my phone's for kids, food for thought. Why not? They definitely don't want that for kids, or at least if it is being advertised, it watch. Now it's gonna start showing the menu. It's gonna start showing all these different things because our devices are always listening. So when it comes through for me or for you, we'll share that information and we'll find something that can help our kids to thrive as well. And by you thriving, your kids will thrive as well. That's the best advice that any spiritual teacher or guru will tell you. You focus on you, you do you, become the best version of yourself, continue to evolve, continue to become better and better every day. Fall from grace, that's fine. Pick yourself up, keep going forward. You do better next time. Learn from your falls and don't repeat them again. Sometimes we do have to repeat them a couple of times because sometimes we gotta fall a couple of times to remember to not do that again, to not drive in that direction towards your job when it's in this direction. To how many times, how many mornings you're gonna wake up and remember I'm driving this way to work. In other words, how many mornings you're gonna wake up and remember that you wanted to do this in the mornings, or you wanted to do that, or you wanted to do that in the morning, or throughout the day. Um, and then reaffirming, what's needed, just basically stating that you know what I need. I trust the universe. You know what I need. You know my desires. You know my path. You know what I'm meant to experience. You know what is meant to be mine, and what's meant to be mine is the greatest, the goodiest of the goodiest things that the universe provides. And I am receiving, even though it says I am open to receive. I like to change everything that I say as much as possible into the state of the now, experiencing it in the now. Because when we say that we are happy, we're healthy, we're going to experience that. When we say the opposite, then we're going to experience the opposite. So we become what we say. We experience what we focus on. We experience what we complain about. We experience what we whine about. We experience what we brag about. We experience what we're joyful about. But if we're experiencing more of the crappy things, then our dialogue often matches what we're experiencing, whether it's external dialogue or internal dialogue. We become that way as well. So if you don't like it, but we as a collective, if each of us here recognize that there's a part of ourselves that we don't like, and we know what those parts are, we know how we can shift them. So then why not take a few minutes every day and do just that? Shift it in the morning, lunch, in the afternoon, or in the evening. All of the times, or just one of those times. And then now the last part, limitless. See yourself open to receive the most miraculous ways. The divine can use anything and anyone. Here, take a screenshot for yourself. I like how the color changes into like more yellow. See yourself open to receive. So this is where it can be more of like a visualization where you're seeing yourself, but seeing yourself as an observer. You just imagine watching yourself as you're sitting down and you're just floating above and you're seeing yourself, feeling and experiencing openness and receiving the most miraculous ways, and knowing that divine continues to use anything and anyone to allow you to experience the best of life um, with harm to none. That's what I would add. Okay. So that's how I would add this, end this reading with these three cards. I'm looking at them, and there's nothing else that I feel like I would add um, aside from see that there's not one hand. There's many hands in here. There's many people. It continues to express community support, connection, accountability, pride, wholeness, and that we're really, even though we feel alone, we're never actually alone. And if you are, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. Even loneliness itself is an emotion. It is a state of being, it's a state of mind, state of existence, and it's happens inside of us. Because if it happened outside of us, people would actually see it, and people don't see it because it's not like you go outside in nature and you see an anthill and then you see some ants on top. You don't really see what's happens on the inside. You know that there's ants. You know that there's things happening. You know, food in and garbage out. Kind of like how the body works, but you don't know what's happening in the inside. You don't see the whole entire structure. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're rebuilding. You don't know what they're healing. You don't know what they're overcoming. Just like nobody knows what you're healing, you're overcoming, you're becoming. And that's where a lot of miscommunication happens, on top of the fact that everybody's hurting. And when hurt people are hurting, they lash out. They can't help but hurt other people. Um, they can do their best, but they can't help it. It's like a teenager. When a teenager doesn't get enough um, rest or proper rest or nutrition or enough nutrition or water, which means that when the body is not balanced, when something is off, when the body needs something or the mind needs something, then the teenager will lash out and they can't help it. They don't know why. We as adults, we're the same. We're still doing that very thing where we find ourselves just like snapping. And it's like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I make that mistake? Okay, that's why I made that mistake. Now I understand it. Now I understand the what. The how gets a little bit easier. And then why did I do it? And then do I want to do it again? Chances are no. That's why it triggered me in the first place. So what would I like to do instead? Or what would I rather do? Or what would I prefer to do instead? That. Okay. Can I? Like, how reasonable is it for me to actually do that? Mm, maybe not so reasonable. Okay, so if not that, what else could it be? Hmm. Could do this or this or that. Okay. Now there's a list of things. Which one would I prefer? Pick one, and then now I can go back to the other list of what I could do. So it's essentially coaching. And this is why I continue to recommend having a coach, because I learned this way of being through practice and practice and practice, not just through school, but through practice with clients on constant basis, through practice with my coaches on constant basis, through doing all the things that I recommend doing, because I don't actually recommend things that I don't do. And if I do, I quickly mention that I don't necessarily do it myself, or I'm not that great at it, or whatever it is. I always let you know um, my extent of knowledge on it. And if typically, anyway, just I'll probably do forget to mention it. But anyways, what else was there? I think that was it. Uh, yeah, I gotta go do the other three videos for Get Your Shit Together. This is the last one. Because now, as you can see, like there's the plan of what's next, and then the kids will be coming home. So quite a few things I gotta do. So let's do that. Other than that, let me know how that exercise was for you. that you did in the beginning. And if you want to share your biggest takeaway from this card reading, I would also love to hear it. That's it. Again, before I forget, it's always fun with friends. I know it's fun with friends because once I recognize and finally not just recognize, but once I guess submitted to the truth because it felt like I was submitting to it, submitting to the truth that it's not only funner with friends, that it's even better with friends and so much smoother and easier with friends. It just why go at it alone? Why do it alone? Why not have fun while you're doing whatever you're doing? In this community, what we're all doing is we're growing together. We're coming together. We're becoming the best versions of ourselves every single day and helping one another to feel okay when we don't do so good. Because when we feel okay, when we don't do so good, it allows us to have some more energy back to reclaim that energy that we try to give away by saying I'm not good, by starting to believe, well, maybe I am good, maybe I'm not that bad, and then reclaiming it back, and then all of a sudden, before we know it, we're back up, or maybe even higher energetically than when we were previously to that or prior to that. So I would love for you to invite your friends into this community as well through just sharing a video so we can continue to do what I just said, help one another, grow together, and overcome ourselves in the process. Overcome ourselves that are less desirable so we can embody ourselves that are desirable and desirable to ourselves, not to anyone else or not to anything else, but desirable to ourselves. Because you get to live with yourself. You know you can't even lie to yourself. I know you tried and you can't lie to yourself. I know I tried and I can't lie to myself. So what's the point of continuing to lie and pretend and rationalize through things and make them okay when they're really not okay? And if they're not okay, how can I make them okay? How can I help them to be okay? And then do the work. That's it. So share this group with your best friends if you haven't already. And let's continue to invite all of our friends and grow together, share our friends, share our knowledge, share our wisdom, and share our ups and downs and growths and growth opportunities. That's it. Now, really quick reminders. Tomorrow, Monday, will be the Sacred Circle at 10 a.m., which is on Zoom of social media, and Bethany will be leading. She will be doing the cacao ceremony. I will still be away, I believe, or I might already be back. We shall see. It all depends on how quickly we decide to drive back. And then Wednesday, 12 p.m. is Bethany's mindfulness practice. 1:30 p.m. we have the Heal the Unicorn. Thursday at 11:30 we have I do get issued together via the Kasperczak, which I'm going to be starting to record right after this video. I'm going to do the next three of those super quickly, hopefully. I'll try to keep them as short as I can. And what else? What else? What else? That's it. For now, I believe that's it. If there's still a giveaway going around, we will continue with the giveaway. Once you don't see it anymore or mention that it's no longer active, then it will be no longer active. But keep inviting people, keep helping us grow this community of like-minded women. Other than that, until I see you in one of our next events or pre-recorded video or a live video or a post, I'll see you in the comments or I'll see you in my message box. I'll see you somewhere. Or you'll see me. Until then, bye, guys. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Most importantly, thanks for helping us grow this beautiful and powerful, life transforming community. And until next time.